The anti-Covid-19 vaccination strategy in Romania will be adopted on Thursday by the country's Supreme Defense Council, headed by President Klaus Iohannis, as part of a video conference. The strategy was approved Friday by the government and provides for the vaccination in a first stage of the healthcare personnel, the staff of residential and medical and social centers, and the vulnerable people. The second stage will include the entire population of Romania. In another move, the Romanian President Klaus Iohannis on Wednesday said that later this week the enclosed agri-food markets will be reopened, given a drop in the number of new COVID-19 cases in Romania in the past weeks. The enclosed markets have been closed in early November in a bid to limit the spread of the new coronavirus. According to the latest report published by the National Public Health Institute, the spread rate of the new coronavirus in Romania has dropped last week by almost 10%, as against the previous week. Another 4,916 new cases of contamination were reported on Wednesday, and 135 deaths from COVID-19. A record number of patients, 1,260, is now in ICUs. Since the onset of the pandemic, the total number of cases at national level has exceeded 484,000, with 11,665 deaths reported. The authorities are urging the population to continue to strictly observe the health protection rules. A few days are left of the election campaign ahead of the parliamentary elections on Sunday. Just like in the local elections at the end of September, the authorities have imposed restrictions on the number of participants in election events and strict sanitary rules under which these can take place. Citizens will be able to exercise their right to vote in all localities currently in lockdown, with no restrictions in this respect, said Prime Minister Ludovic Orban. He explained that people infected with the virus and those who are isolating will be able to cast their votes via mobile polling stations. The Prime Minister made these explanations as a number of towns and villages are in lockdown in Romania due to spikes in the infection rate. Romanian voters from abroad will be able to cast their votes over the course of 2 days on the 5th and 6th of December. The Romanian diaspora will be represented in the next parliament by 4 deputies and 2 senators. The Romanian Foreign Minister Bogdan Aurescu attended a meeting of NATO foreign ministers to discuss security in the Black Sea region. The talks, held in a video conference format, looked at the application of Allied decisions with regard to NATO adjustment to current security developments and strategic challenges. In the first working session on Tuesday, Minister Aurescu called for consolidating NATO's role, reaffirming the central role of the transatlantic relation based on the principles of cohesion, unity, and allied solidarity, and for revitalizing NATO partnerships, including by continuing the alliance's open-door policy. The Romanian men's handball champions Dinamo Bucharest lost to the German side Füchse Berlin on Tuesday night, away from home 29-33, in a Group B match as part of the EHF European League. The return match is scheduled for December 8th in Bucharest. With 2 points in 4 matches, Dinamo are in the last but one place in the 6-team group. In women's handball, the national side are playing the opening match of the European Championship hosted by Denmark, facing Germany on Thursday night. The 2 sides are in Group D, hosted by the city of Kolding. With many players in quarantine after testing positive for coronavirus, Romania will next be facing Poland on December 5th and Norway on December 7th. The 3 best-ranked sides in the group will qualify for the next stage. And now we have a special announcement. The shortwave stations in Galben in eastern Romania, which transmit Radio Romania International's broadcasts, are to undergo scheduled repair works on Thursday, December 3rd, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Romanian time. This will affect the station's Africa broadcast in English, the Western Europe broadcasts in French and Romanian, and the Maghreb and Mashkrek broadcasts in Arabic. You can still tune to these broadcasts via the shortwave stations in Tigănești and on the internet at www.rri.ro, via the downloadable mobile applications available in Google Play and App Store, via Eutelsat 16A, and via your fixed and mobile phones. And that was the news from Bucharest, Radio Romania International.
Romania's National Day was celebrated on December the 1st by means of restricted ceremonies. I'm Vlad Balcu with a report by Roxana Vasile and Marius Tița. On December the 1st, 1918, representatives of Romanian communities in Transylvania convened in the city of Alba Iulia and signed in favor of the unification with the Kingdom of Romania. Previously, Romanians from Bessarabia and Bukovina opted to unite with Romania. Treaties signed as part of the Paris Peace Conference enshrined Romanians' efforts and sacrifices to accomplish the Great Union. After the anti-communist revolution of 1989, December the 1st was proclaimed the National Day of Romania, celebrated both at home and abroad. This year, the Covid-19 pandemic has brought about restrictive measures which impacted manifestations held on this occasion. Modern technologies have allowed Romanians around the world to celebrate this special day. In Alba Iulia, the streets of the city, once filled with people gathered in celebration, were empty, especially as local authorities announced an extension of the quarantine imposed last week. In Bucharest, the traditional military parade of soldiers and military equipment was cancelled. The square before the Triumphal Arch venued only a restricted official ceremony attended by President Klaus Iohannis, who had this to say.
Gândurile noastre se îndreaptă către eroii acestui an, personalul medical.
Our thoughts today go out to the heroes of this war, the medical personnel and everyone risking their lives to prevent the spread of the virus, as well as to the victims of this deadly virus and to their families. We are aware and we feel the substantial efforts undertaken by health workers since March, and we will always pay tribute to the sacrifice made by doctors, nurses and ambulance workers. President Klaus Iohannis. On December the 1st, the President decorated medical doctors as well as medical schools in Romania. On a more colorful note, the Niagara Falls in Canada was lit up in red, yellow and blue, describing the national flag of Romania. In Dubai, the Romanian flag was projected on the famous Burj Al Arab Tower as part of an initiative of the Romanian Embassy in the United Arab Emirates. In Petra, Jordan, for the first time ever, the flag of a foreign country, our flag, was officially raised in front of the Treasury building. The government building in Madrid was also lit up with the colors of the Romanian flag, while the National Police Orchestra of Spain performed our national anthem, Awaken the Romanian.
The European Commission has found ways to support the labour market faced with serious challenges against the background of the coronavirus crisis. The Commission came up with a set of measures meant to counteract the extensive economic imbalances and diminish their negative impact on people's living standards. Thus, the European Union set up a temporary support instrument to protect workers and jobs. Under its SURE program, the Commission offers each member state financial support of up to 100 billion euros. This support, in the form of loans granted on favorable terms, will assist member states in addressing sudden increases in public expenditure to preserve employment. Specifically, they will help cover the costs directly related to the financing of national short-term work schemes and other similar measures they have put in place as a response to the coronavirus pandemic, including for the self-employed. The European Commission has disbursed 8.5 billion euros in the third installment of financial support to 5 member states under the SURE instrument. As part of these operations, Belgium has received 2 billion euros, Hungary 200 million euros, Portugal 3 billion euros, Romania 3 billion euros and Slovakia 300 million euros. The loan is granted for 15 years under the same terms that the Commission took it out from the market. 16 member countries have so far received financing under the SURE instrument. The next disbursements will take place over the course of the months ahead, following the respective bond issuances. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said that Romania will receive a total amount of 4 billion euros in 2 installments. The loan has a negative interest rate, which means that Bucharest will have to repay less than it received. The European Commission President has also said that the loan encourages healthy Romanian firms to keep their employees even if there is not enough work for them. She has explained that under the SURE program, salaries will be subsidized and, at the end of the crisis, when the market recovers and the company already has the qualified staff that it needs, it can start working properly. The European Commission works on alternatives for the member states to have access to the money in the recovery package, the European official has explained. Hungary and Poland have vetoed the coronavirus recovery package because they object to linking access to the European money with countries' respect of the rule of law. On the other hand, the bonds issued under SURE are social bonds. This framework is meant to provide investors in these bonds with confidence that the funds mobilized will serve a truly social objective. And that has been our newscast.
You are listening to Radio Romania International. Focus on Romania. Society today.
Welcome to Society Today. I'm Ana Maria Popescu. Of the challenges entailed by the current pandemic containment measures, one of the most complex concerns the education sector. Many schools, high schools and universities in Romania are currently working exclusively online, even in the capital city Bucharest, which has an infection rate of 3.91 per thousand. But online learning is by no means easy, especially in the many rural or poor regions where students and teachers lack access to elementary digital technology and where the internet connection is often difficult. Also, questions like what, how, and how much can we teach, and how do we test and assess are ever more frequent as the education sector strives to adapt to the current circumstances. Education entrepreneurs are already coming up with digital solutions for these questions. But it all has to start from an answer to the question, what should we adapt, believes Dragoș Iliescu, professor and psychopedagogy expert. I can safely say that nobody knows exactly what we should adapt. We definitely cannot adapt content in the sense that we cannot leave out or add content. And I'm afraid this is the trend I can see with some of the decision makers in the system. This is a difficulty here. Why not leave out some of the curriculum? But eliminating parts of the curricula is not an option or a solution during this period. While the content of the curricula should not be tampered with, we can adapt the content of classes. There is virtually nothing that cannot be taught online using digital technology. For virtually any lesson in any subject, we can imagine a new, different, innovative method of teaching. And if you can teach it, you can definitely test it as well.
in the same manner. Although at first sight online assessment is easier than online teaching, things are not that simple, Dragoș Iliescu explains.
Lucrurile nu stau nici acolo atât de simplu, fiindcă, evident, fugind spre digital, tu rezolvi...
This is not an easy task either, because the switch to the digital mode solves some problems and creates others. For instance, it solves the scaling problem. You create a test and, in theory, that test can be given to any child in any part of the country. But it creates security problems, for example. To what extent can you use a test that any child can copy in a print screen and pass on to his mates? There are technologies and approaches that solve this problem, which is not as new as we may think. Other countries found solutions long ago. The solution is not to eliminate something that you need, but to find alternatives to keep doing it even in these strange and unfortunate circumstances. One proof that assessment can go on is the Brio.ro testing platform initiated by Dragoș Iliescu. On this platform, tests are designed to combine learning and assessment, because in addition to a final score, children are also given a detailed assessment of their skills in a particular area. Dragoș Iliescu.
În timpul testării tu de fapt înveți, nimic nu te face să înveți mai profund.
During a test, you actually learn. Possibly nothing else helps you learn as profoundly. Testing is in and by itself a learning activity. It structures information, encourages metacognition. It's the best way of consolidating knowledge and connecting it to other practical activities. In addition, it gives you feedback on the learning process. It points out what you know and what you don't. A UK resident for several years, Paul Balog has developed various digital education resources, from electronic textbooks to digital teaching platforms like Hypersay. He works with prestigious academic institutions in the UK and with teachers in Romania. Paul Balog.
România a reacționat, la nivelul ministerului a reacționat nu foarte...
Romania's response was not great. The Education Ministry gave little to no help to teachers. But at individual level, a lot of teachers did great and solved their problems by their own means. They learned how to use the online platforms for conferences and teaching. What these people did is outstanding, I think, and I can't see why this topic is not discussed more in the public arena. On the other hand, in other countries, the ministries worked more coherently with the schools. They designed various solutions in due time and applied them. The support from the ministry makes a difference. So, individual teachers proved more adaptable than many public institutions, Paul Balog says, and he concludes.
Continuare avem în România mai degrabă relații individuale.
In Romania, we still have individual relations with teachers. There are teachers in private and public schools who want to use our platform, but their support from schools, especially in terms of budgets, is almost inexistent. Very often, teachers have to pay from their own pockets for such software, which is not normal. At institutional level, we have no cooperation agreement with either the ministry or any school or university in Romania. But there are a number of enthusiastic teachers who use our platform on a daily basis in order to teach better online. That was Paul Balog concluding our installment of Society Today.
Coming up next on Radio Romania International, Visit Romania. Welcome everyone to a new edition of Visit Romania, today taking you to Argeș County, more specifically to Golești, a village home to a museum unlike any other in Europe, the Viticulture and Pomology Museum. It is a place where tradition and history become one, making it ideal for a visit around the year. The museum was set up on June 7, 1939 by King Carol II and was named the Dinicu Golescu Museum. Over the years, it developed new permanent exhibitions reflecting both the history of the Golescu family of boyars as well as the history, culture and civilization of Argeș County. Our guide today is curator Dan Arsene. He says the museum was built on the foundation of medieval ruins dating back to the 17th century.
Ansamblul medieval cunoscut în perioadă sub numele de conac fortificat aparținând.
The medieval ensemble was known as the Fortified Boyars Manor. An open-air exhibition can be visited nearby, with 30 households from all over the country. They are brought over from areas where wine growing and pomology are the main activities. Each household consists of a house, fixtures and working tools which all recall of the life of their owners prior to the households being integrated into the museum. The medieval ensemble is closely tied to the Golescu family of boyars, a well-reputed family in the Middle Ages and with major achievements in the modern period. The members of the family took an active part in the major political events in the Middle Ages, but particularly in the 19th century as well, in the union of the Romanian principalities and the emergence of the new Romanian village, Dan Arsene. The porch to the main building is covered by a 150-year-old vine called wisteria, planted by Zinca Golescu herself, wife to Dinicu Golescu. This is the main entry into the manor. The wall facing the door bears a coat of arms and the Golescu family tree. The most beautiful and lavish section of the manor is a spiral staircase in the middle of the main hall, linking the ground floor to the first floor, which today serves only a decorative purpose. Further details from our guide, curator Dan Arsene.
Pe lângă expozițiile dedicate familiei Golescu și membrilor familiei Golescu.
Apart from the exhibitions devoted to the Golescu family, we have an exhibition devoted to the Royal House of Romania. On May 19, 1866, King Carol signed his first official decree here at the manor in Golești. Visitors can actually see the original throne used by all the kings of Romania over 1885-1947, as well as one of the desks used by Carol I. They bear a strong visual impact and hold special historical significance. Curator Dan Arsene. Visitors to the museum can also buy postcards, handicraft objects and local gems at the souvenir shop. Although all events were cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic this year, the museum stays open and can be visited from Tuesday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And this has been all in Visit Romania.
And with that, our broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe and North America, the East Coast, has come to an end. You can listen to our next program for Western Europe at 23 hours UTC on 7220 kHz in analog system and on 6040 kHz in the RM system. Our listeners in North America, the East Coast, can listen to us at 1 hours UTC on 6130 kHz and 7325 kHz. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro, Channel 1. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write an email at engl@rri.ro. Goodbye.